we were talking about writing books and, what we wanted to do. And towards the end of the conversation, the other person said something along the lines of, they think that it would be a good idea to write a book for Christian women on how to find godly husbands. And it got me thinking. And, of course, I replied, yeah, I know it's a big problem, LOL, because it's a big problem, not only in the Christian community, but just in the community of women in general, finding a good man. Then this video came up.
Your wife, those are your kids, that's your responsibility. And if you don't provide for them, you're worse than an unbeliever. If you're not willing to work, pay your bills, and pave your way, you're not a man, you're a boy who can shave. That's who you are. So what we do here is we build men up to bless women and children. That's what it means to be a man. You're not around real men unless the women and children are blessed because those men are around. Those men make the world a better place for women.
That was Pastor Mark Driscoll. Now, I have not watched all of his other sermons. I'm not familiar with the rest of his stuff, but after watching that video, I immediately liked him. And the reason I immediately liked him is because he so very much resembles my husband. And he preaches the same thing my husband preaches. And as a woman, I have immense respect for any man that works hard and provides for his family. However, I think it's important that a man provides more than just a paycheck. He needs to provide security, leadership, and safety, along as emotional and physical support. And I think this is where a lot of women mess up. And this isn't just geared towards Christian women. I mean, primarily the message, yes, but I think this is where women in general mess up. If you were to ask a modern day woman or young woman in her 20s, what do you look for in a man? What's the first thing they say? Usually, they want the man to make 6 figures. He has to be at least 6 foot tall. And well, you can fill in the last one. And if you notice, it's all about physical attributes, status, money. That's the main things they're looking for. And then they can't figure out why once they find these quote unquote high value men, they're left in a world of pain. They're cheated on, they're abused. All sorts of horrible things happen. And then they complain and they cry and they say, why can't I find a good man? And the reason you can't find a good man, and whether you're religious or not, is because you're looking for all the wrong things. All these quote unquote high value men, all that matters to them is money and fame. They're hedonistic. They live their lives in the pursuit of pleasure, and they don't care who they have to hurt to get it. And so there's one thing missing from these men, and that is the fact that they're men of God. That's what's missing. Let me show you what I mean.
Ask you one more question.
Fire away, honey.
Okay. If you have only one place in your heart for one woman, or you want to have one woman in your heart, I think you said, why don't you just commit to one and choose to be faithful to her?
I'm just not wired that way. I spent my whole 20s trying to
This is so interesting and a great demonstration of the double standards when it comes to the red pill or quote unquote traditional men, but I wouldn't call them that because they lack God. I would just call them red pillars. But I find it very interesting. There's the same men that when a woman sleeps around, they'll say she's for the streets. But when they do it, they're just wired that way. It's completely acceptable because it's wired in them. And then they expect the woman to ignore the fact that they are unfaithful to her and to deal with it because they have money and they provide. And while yes, being a provider is honorable, when you don't serve God or you don't have any morals and you live a hedonistic life, it is not admirable. And that's where the difference lies, ladies. And so lack of morals and self-control is what you're going to get with a man like that. He's a slave to his desires and he can't control himself. Gee, that sounds desirable. He is literally the male equivalent of an OnlyFans model.
You're a man of self-control. You work out, you do business.
Yeah.
You can possess your own power and direct it the way you want to direct it.
It's not how I am.
You think that might be a limited mindset?
I think it's none of your business, but I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm not. Okay. I saw somebody say that, and I think that's interesting. I think you're annoying, but I'm not triggered. You know what I'm saying? No, you are. You're annoying in like this goody two-shoes type way, and that's fine. I'm going to live my life on my terms, unapologetically.
And he immediately gets aggressive with her. And boy, oh boy, was he triggered. And if you notice, he goes directly for personal attacks because he's already lost the argument. And I would argue that being a faithful husband And a committed father is the ultimate test of manhood. A lot of these red pill men say that they expect their women, and notice I said women, multiples, that they expect these women to submit to them fully because why? They're providing them with financial support, right? I always chuckle when I hear this, especially coming from hedonistic or worldly men who don't follow the Bible at all. They sure love to take that from the Bible and say to a woman, you have to submit to me. You have to. You have to submit because I say so, I'm the man. Here's the deal. She doesn't have to submit to you if you're not a godly man. That's the catch. Are you worth submitting to? A woman can't submit to a man who's not submitting to God. If he's not submitting to God, what's leading him? His ego, right? A woman is basically submitting to God through the man because he's the vessel. And I'd like to add that when you hear these men say they want you to submit to them, another little tidbit to ladies, if you are dating a man and he tells you that, you don't do it. You know why you don't do it? Because that's only something that's reserved for a husband. Yeah, not boyfriends. Husband benefits. And when I say to submit to your husband, people always like freak out because they think I'm saying like, oh, I'm a slave to my husband. No, that's not what I'm saying. When you submit to your husband, that means you let him lead. He's the head of the household. He makes the decisions. Yes, he talks to you about them, but you ultimately take a step back. You get in your feminine, you let him be in his masculine, you let him lead. It doesn't mean I lost all my opinions, obviously. It doesn't mean I lost my passions or things I like to do, like writing, painting. I didn't give up anything. I had to change within. And I learned to kind of step back and let my husband take the reins. And I really started to appreciate him. Marriage can be a beautiful thing. It really can. The problem is most women are looking for the wrong things.